everybody. My name is Matthew Kleinman. I'm here at the kit booth at NAMM 2024, and we are going to be showing you guys our brand new drum platform and the first plugin we're releasing on that platform, Connor Dennis Drums. So over here we have the plugin. The only thing in this plugin right now that's not final are the drum graphics themselves. These are pre-release graphics. I'll show real quick our final graphics. That's what the drum set's going to look like in the release. This will most likely be our next release that we do after NAMM. And this particular plugin, not only is debuting our new drum platform, but it's debuting Connor Dennis from the band Beartooth for the first time in plugin form. So we set out about 18 months ago as well. Both the plugins we're showing off today took about 1.5 to 2 years to build. But we wanted to create a drum platform pretty much from the ground up. We did partner with another company that already had some software and worked with them to build on top of it, but we wanted the engine to be specific to how we wanted to build these packs. And our entire goal here was to bridge the gap between mix-ready beginner plugins and incredibly complicated plugins. We wanted to keep the price lower and give people access to the mix-ready presets, but also the ability to go in and tweak those. If you're a professional mix engineer with a lot of experience and you want to control everything, you can control just about everything. So we went in with Connor. We recorded his actual drum kit. The yellow drums are all his Gretsch USA custom drums. Connor played every single hit himself, so you're getting the sound of Connor playing the drums. We have 6 snare drums. You can switch by right-clicking on the drum, selecting the one you want, and the image and sound will change. We have 2 kick drums, a 22, which is the one here, and a 24. We also have 2 ride cymbals and 2 the crash on the right side. You then have a left crash and a hi-hat. They're only one of each. Every time you select a drum on this page, if you have advanced mode on, so you can turn that off, hide all those features, keep it simple, or turn it on, it will automatically select the drum and pull up all of your settings. So on the left side here, we have all of the articulations available, and anything that's mapped will show up mapped. For this particular song, we're not using every articulation, so we unmapped a couple things just to keep the CPU load down a little bit. But we could have mapped everything if we needed it. We have an electronic drum set demo behind us here that we can show in a minute, where everything is mapped to an electronic drum set that Yamaha was kind to lend us. Every articulation has individual volume control, so if that bell on that ride is just too quiet compared to the edge, which it was in this particular case for this song, you can adjust those individually. You have audition on any page you would need it on. So right here you can audition every single one of the components, and they're velocity sensitive. Left side is quiet, right side is high velocity. So you can audition those ghost notes all the way up to the heavy hits on every available articulation. We don't have this one mapped because it's not in the song, so it won't play, but if it was mapped, you'd be able to hear it. On the right side here, for every single drum, you have volume, pan, and reverb. Those are all duplicates of what you'll find on the mixer page as well, so you can do it here or on the mixer page. You have your attack velocity. So this little map here, which is fully interactive but also includes presets, lets you change how MIDI coming into the plugin will be handled. So let's say you have an electric drum set, your drummer's not quite hitting hard enough. You can create this curve here, which will create every quiet hit will be louder now. Or let's say your snare is just too loud. No matter how soft they hit, you're getting a high velocity. You can go to one of these softer curve presets, and it's going to take all those louder velocities and bring them down for you. So you don't have to do that in the MIDI. You don't have to mess around with the brain on your E-kit. You can do it right here in the plugin. We also have ADSR. This is not only per instrument, but per articulation. So you can change the attack, the resonance, basically, how long that's going to ring out and how it fades out on every single drum, but also on every articulation. So you can have a choked up center hit on your snare drum and then a nice ringy rim shot if you want to. The way Connor likes to record, his drums are pretty much wide open. There's a little bit of muting, but they like to ring. We found with him that they really just sing that way. So we can then go in and artificially cut back. So this snare drum, for example, has a nice sharp cutoff. It's a kind of fat rock and roll snare drum. We didn't want it to ring forever. I can turn that ADSR off and it's going to be a world of difference. Big, wide open, goes on forever. So there are some presets where we're not using ADSR, and there are some where we are. That brings me to one of the most important things to us in this plugin, presets. The plugin has a preset manager up here. One thing that will also change between this build and the release build is all the presets will show here. Right now, they don't automatically populate. We only get a couple. But you can pull up, there will be between 75 and 100 included presets. Everything from rock, metal, country, blues. You can really do anything. We recorded the samples raw with the best engineers we could find, and then we built in a full mixer. So when you move over to the mix page, you have every single component, but you also have every microphone available to you on the individual pieces. So if I open up that kick drum, I have 3 kick channels. Each and every one of these has an assigned individual channel strip at the top. Saturation, EQ, and compression. In this particular build of the plugin Connors, we have barrier on the left, core EQ in the middle, and core compressor on the right. So it's the same plugins our users are already used to. They can then come in here and use them on the drum plugin. Each microphone and the general bus have their own channel strips. You can also process your master bus using the same channel strip. There's also a built-in reverb, very simple. It's a digital reverb. We've tuned it to sound somewhat like a chamber, nothing specific, just a good drum verb, nothing with too much decay, but nothing too quiet either. Every single individual piece of the kit can have the reverb sent here or again on this page. It was very important to me as a user that you didn't have to switch pages to access something. So on this page, you also have velocity sensitive auditioning. Lower down is quieter, higher up is louder on every component of the kit. So you don't, again, have to switch pages. You can be tweaking your EQ or your compression, jump right over there. You have pan, solo, mute, phase flip. You can also individually phase flip your bleed. So this is not a full bleed plugin. It's Connor, it's more rock and roll based. So you have overhead, room 1 and room 2 bleed. We don't have bleed between the components. However, on some of our future plugins, like Joe Ciccarelli, that is going to be a feature. There will be more bleed available. Depending on how much RAM you have, you can use more or less bleed. We are also working on disk streaming, which will be coming in a future update, and that will be a free update when it is available. But you can individually control that kick in the room, the overheads. We have 2 rooms here. Room 1 is the kit's actual room. Room 2 was an adjacent room made out of stone in the studio. We worked very much like a reverb chamber. So you could control both of those individually here as a group or the individual bleeds. So let's say you want a metal kick. You don't want a lot of room on that kick, but you want that snare to be nice and open. You can do that. You could pull the kick out of the overheads, pull the kick out of the rooms, just use the direct mics, and then send a ton of rooms to that snare for that snare drum. And it will completely change how it works. And so you really have all the control. When you pull up a preset, right now this Birds 2 preset is specific to this song. This song is called Birds Don't Sing. It's by a wonderful friend of mine, Mike Miz, and we've been working on a lot of music together, so we had the ability to use this session. I replaced the real drums with MIDI, pulled up the plugin, and designed a preset specifically for the song. But let's say we wanted to pull up a different preset. This is a metal preset, designed more around Connor's sound. You got that tight kick, the punchy snare drum with a little bit more ring, a lot less rooms on everything, just tight and aggressive and metal. But what you may have noticed is that all I did was pull up a different preset on this page. So there isn't a difference in the samples. So if you pull up a preset and it's close, but you want to control it, you can come in here right now and just say, I want less compression on that snare drum. And you can have full control. So it's also a great learning tool. If you don't know how to mix drums very well yet, and you buy this plugin, you can pull up a preset and see what professional engineers that made these presets were doing to get that sound, and then tweak them to be your final mix. You can also, if you're a pro and you want to just start from zero, you could pull up a raw preset, which we're going to include. That'll turn all that processing off, and you'll just have the raw, open drums to do as you wish with. There's a lot of features to cover here, so I'll try to keep going, but one of the coolest features I think is right up here. It's so simple, it's so obvious, but not every plugin has this. D is drummer perspective, A is audience perspective. Instantly flip the entire kit. So you don't have to sit there moving all those pans. You can just toggle back and forth, and you can see at the lower half of the plugin, all these pans are just flipping backwards and changing color. So let's say you want to use this plugin live, which is something we have used it for in testing. You set up your E-kit, you hook it up to a computer, and you just flip it to that perspective. One of the other cool features here is you have multi-out. So you can route this out to your DAW or out to an interface and use it live. You just click here on the bottom where it says master, and you can route that output out of the plugin and mix with your own plugins. So we're not locking you in. We really wanted this to be versatile for the professional or for the person who's been doing this for 20 years. But for the young person or the just person who just decided, I'm going to pick up a drum plugin for the first time, this is just like opening one of those mix-ready contact libraries. The first preset that opens will sound great, but you can pull up any preset you want and tweak it however you want. Moving on to the next page, we have a full groove player in here. Now this is nothing particularly special at first sight. It's like most of the groove players anyone would have seen in any of my competitive plugins, but here's the big difference. We built in a humanize algorithm. So right here at the bottom, you can fully humanize your MIDI. So you find that groove you want, and this works, by the way, with your own MIDI. You can drop user MIDI in. There'll be an instructional video when we release this that'll tell you how to do that. If it's formatted properly, you can even just drop it here. You find that groove you want, whether it's yours, one we sold you, or one you bought from another company. You audition it right here. Let's find one we like real quick. That's a nice one. And then you say, it's a little too on the grid. Let's go with lazy, pull this fader up. You can actually see it just shuffled all that MIDI around. Now you like it? Well, you just grab that file right here, drag it into your session. It commits the humanize function. And now you have that MIDI right there, and you just hit play, and it's in your session. So you can build a whole song right in here, not ever knowing how to touch a drum set. The plugin will come with an included library. Some of the grooves played by Connor himself, some played by myself and my team. But we will also be releasing subsequent libraries with other people that you can add to this. But again, all you have to do is remap an existing library. It's just MIDI. We're not trying to be gatekeepers or proprietary here. You buy a MIDI pack from one of my competitors. As long as you map the plugin to that MIDI map, you can just drag it right in here and have it stored. And the humanize function will work on any MIDI file. It's not just to ours. So you can do so much with that tool. You also, again, have a duplicate control up here. So if you're on this page trying to tune a drum kit, you just hit play up there, it'll play. An important feature here too is it's a standalone plugin as well. So you don't need a DAW. You can open this as an application on your computer. That's what we're doing behind me here on the E-Kit. So if you're a drummer and you're not a producer, buy this plugin, hook it up to any electronic drum set with a USB cable, map it, and you can play the drums through the plugin and hear what they sound like with all those presets. That brings me to the last page, mapping. One of the most important pages in any drum plugin, and definitely one of the most intimidating. It's a very hard thing to do right. We did everything we possibly could to make this easy. For starters, we have mapping presets that will be built into this plugin from the last 10 years on a whole bunch of the main brands of drum kit and models. We're going to have Roland, Yamaha, Alesis, Simmons. You know, we're obviously not going to have everything, but we're going to have as much as we possibly can in there. Now, let's say that map doesn't line up with your kit. You have a different kit, or you've changed the settings in the brain. It's very easy. You clear this whole thing through that preset manager, and you can map it in 5 minutes. We never saw the Yamaha kit behind us. Yamaha lent it to us for NAMM. In 5 or 10 minutes, we had the entire thing mapped. It's really that easy. You have all your kit components on this side. You can even see there's some ones that we don't have in here right now. Percussion 1, percussion 2. Those are there so we can expand this plugin in future updates. If we want to add an extra feature, we have space for it. But you pick the component of the kit you want. Let's say the kick, and you see the articulation available. You click snare, all your articulation is available. This is your MIDI map. You have your note or the position in the MIDI lineup. So you can think of it as a keyboard. You can think of it however you want. When you have MIDI hooked up in here, if I hit play real quick, sorry, it's not going to work with that because that's from the plugin. But if you have a MIDI controller hooked up or an E-Kit, it will highlight, just like this is highlighted now. If I select this as highlighted, it'll automatically select and highlight the MIDI input. So when you hit the snare on your E-Kit, it'll tell you what note that is. You find that component here. You can disconnect the automatic so it doesn't take you to the wrong articulation. You can just hop over to snare, hit center hit, whack the center of the snare drum on your kit, and click this little arrow right here. When you click that arrow, it'll send that to the correct mapping. So it's as easy as find snare center hit what you want that to be on your E-Kit, click that arrow. Find the next articulation, hit that on your E-Kit, hit the arrow. You just rinse and repeat until the whole kit is mapped. It has full variable hi-hat control, so you can individually map MIDI notes if that's how you want to do it or your E-Kit works, or if you're using a kit similar to the Yamaha behind us, you can select a variable. Let me find one in here. I'll show you how it works. You click variable shank, select where you want it to go or hit it on your E-Kit, click that arrow. It's that easy. Once you have that and you click on there we go. So you see here we have all of these settings. As I open and close the hi-hat pedal, this orange bar or yellow bar will move up and down, and it'll show you which hi-hat you're on. So you can have full variable hi-hat if your kit supports it, or you can send individual MIDI notes out for each and every articulation on the hi-hat. Some of our future plugins like Joe Ciccarelli have different articulations. There are some different rim shots, rim clicks, claps. All of those will populate here, same mapping procedure. So you can sort of expand and contract. We are also planning on adding one-shot support in the future. That will come out with Joe Ciccarelli's plugin and then be a free upgrade that we will release for this afterwards. So you'll be able to link your own one-shots or the ones we provide to a drum and layer them in. So if you really just need that extra level of support. The big thing here that we built was the engine. You know, the plugin is the first of many. It's a great way to sort of, as an engineer, as a producer, as a hobbyist, you can get the sound of Connor Dennis sitting in front of you. And we wanted it to be exactly like that. Connor's in the studio with you. You're in charge. You can mix it how you want. You can play it how you want. You can tune it how you want. There's pitch on every drum and every articulation, so you can tune it however you want it. And as we expand, each plugin will come with its own custom channel strip. So this channel strip is just for Connor Dennis. Joe Ciccarelli's plugin is going to have a channel strip specific to him with his selection of gear in it. Same thing for the future releases. They'll each have a bespoke channel strip specifically catered to that drum set. In the future, we are planning on releasing a platform where you can mix and match pieces. That will also be free for anyone that owns one of these platforms. So if you own Connor Dennis and you own Joe Ciccarelli, that will be a free download, and you can use those sounds in that plugin. We basically treat it like you bought this library, it's yours now. If we release new software, that's going to be a free upgrade as long as it's compatible. So all that going back and forth mix and matching snare drums will be available in the future, and you know, this is going to be a whole brand for us. Kit Drums will be a big extension of our company. We plan on it becoming a huge part of our repertoire, and we have a lot of very cool things we're not announcing yet for this platform that, you know, we'll be telling you guys soon. So as usual, not the best place for audio examples here on the show floor. So I encourage everyone, try the 14-day free trials when it comes out. But this will be the next major release from our company. So keep an eye on the websites. It's coming very soon, and I'm excited for everyone to hear it.